Alright, what's up guys, and welcome back to my art series where I share with you guys some art pieces throughout my art career. And today, again, we have a very special series of pieces. If you haven't seen last episode, the episode before that, or the episode before that, I am displaying the illustrations in my I Spy book, Robot the Interdimensional Robber. Today is page 123, and this piece is called Deep Sea Myths. I'm putting on screen just the page itself in my book. It's pretty cool. It's definitely one of my favorite pages of the whole book. And again, if you're kind of sold on the book already and seen those past episodes, my book is in the description down below on Amazon. Go get you one. But without further ado, let's get into the sketch phase of this piece. All right, so a pretty solid sketch phase. I guess I want to pre-state that drawing pirate ships was something I did a lot as a kid. I mean, if you're an artist, you understand that there's specific things that you drew as a kid that you drew a lot of, and pirate ships were one of them. So when it came down to the concepts of this book, and I came across the idea of doing a Caribbean themed illustration, I knew I had to do a pirate ship. This is probably the most wild pirate ship ever illustrated. Regardless though, I really love this piece, and we'll get into the specifics obviously at the end of the video in the fully rendered image. But as for the sketch phase, you can kind of see the four hidden objects I'm hiding within the illustration there in green. The sketch phase is pretty solid. Most things in the sketch phase is how you see it in the end result. Not too many things have changed. More or less just moving stuff over, shifting it a little bit, adding a little bit of fish, removing some coral. But overall, nothing that you could inherently notice off the gate. But the sketch phase, very good. Let's move right into the line work phase. Again, a very solid idea of what I wanted to do. You can see a lot of those differences coming out a lot easier now within this line work phase. But overall, still keeping all the information jammed into this small composition and really hiding those artifacts in this piece. And there's so many fantastic small Easter eggs and artifacts in this one. And overall, I just really love this piece, and the colors are what really make it what it is. So without further ado, let's get into the fully rendered image. All right, guys, we have Deep Sea Myths. Look at that. If you remember my string-gilled shark video a couple episodes back, we have a very common resemblance. Again, when I was illustrating this book, so much was on the line. So I took a lot of the old concepts that I had drawn before and intertwined them with these new concepts to really make a composition that I really wanted to evoke and share. And overall, for like a Caribbean pirate theme, this was super well done, and I love the colors in this. So I guess first things first, let's start with the ship. So here, like anything, we have my very specific styled Jake Towel illustrated mouth at the back end of this ship where the steering wheel is. And I guess moving up to the steering wheel, there's a lot of really cool stylized things in this piece, but the steering wheel for one is probably my favorite. What's really cool about this steering wheel is it's got like teeth coming out of it, and through the steering wheel it's actually smoking some sort of like pirate pipe. You can kind of see it running from one end through the other of this steering wheel mouth. Another really cool thing is that the steering wheel, one of the steering wheel handles broke off there, and you can see it jammed into the top of the ship on the left there, which is pretty cool. I guess moving through the pipe, we have the pipe also having a mouth, but it's smoking out of this cloud. And again, if you saw last episode, every one of the illustrations that I did for this book has some sort of cloud monster in it, and they're all different colors. So this, we have a purple cloud coming out of this smoking device here, a really cool little flame illustration on there as well, but a lot of really cool stuff going on within this cloud too. Coming out of the back end of that pipe is where that cloud is kind of coming out as well. So it's also being burnt from the front and coming out the back. Coming out of the cloud itself is this hand that's actually steering the boat in the steering wheel. So that's pretty cool. It's like, if you really take back the layers a whole bunch, the steering wheel is technically steering itself, which is a pretty cool concept. And why I started making this channel, a little small tangent, is my art objectively first notice it's a lot to take in, but if you really look at the details and really think about what's going on within this piece, you'll see that there's so many concepts and ideas that I really thought about that I thought would be really cool. And more or less that's why I started this YouTube channel, to share the concepts that I really thought about and think are really cool that I think people have probably overlooked. This is particularly particularly one that I really like specifically for this piece. I guess moving up to the cloud, much like the medieval page, we have this cloud wearing attire that is related to the time and theme of the piece. So we have like this belt with like a musket in it and a curved sword, which is really coolly illustrated. This cloud's also wearing like a pirate hat, which is dope. And then it's also wearing some pirate's famous eye patch. And that's obviously an historical artifact that's a real thing. And that's something, spoiler, that you'll find in the book. But that's really cool. This cloud is actually wearing this eye patch. And you're probably wondering, what is it covering up? It has to have eyes. Well, behind this eye patch, you can kind of see a hole at the top. Coming out of that hole is like an eyeball string, much illustrated like a lot of my pieces. And that's actually going into like, very stereotypical pirate with a telescope looking over to the sea. And you can see that eyeball is going in the telescope, all the way through the telescope and out the front, looking over to the right, which again is just a very stereotypical pirate thing. Not that their eyeballs go through telescopes, but that they are looking through telescopes into the sea. I guess moving back down to the pirate ship itself, we have a lot of rings here, just keeping the theme of my style back in the day. A lot of rings, always rings everywhere. We have rings there, rings there. I'm sure there's a ring down at the bottom as well. Yeah, ring in this shark here, but just some more rings there. We have a tongue coming out of the pirate ship, and it's hooking onto this little orange fishy dude. That's a really cool little aspect. Another cool little thing is like this, pirates like to sing songs, sea shanties, if you will. So I have this like pirate guitar, and it's playing music here. You can see these little music instruments, as well as this music note that has teeth in like a fleshy mouth, which is pretty cool. Moving more to the poop deck of the ship. I just wanted to say poop, let's be real. We have this like opening up of the middle area, and you kind of see the pirate ship brain sitting in the middle there, which is pretty cool. And coming out of this midsection is this pirate flag pole, and that's holding some of the things on this illustration to the right, but we'll get to that. Moving up from the pole, we got some rings, like I said. We got a ring hooking the brain into the middle of the pole, and we got another mouth illustration for the pole of the pirate ship as well. This pirate ship's got a lot of mouths, a lot of openings. It's just what I did, and I think it looks really, really cool. We got another ring going through the smoking device, through the middle of the pole, more rings. Moving up, we got this like really weirdly illustrated eyeball section at the top. Prior, I was thinking of making like a scout stand, like where people sit up way up the top and scout over, but I guess my idea was that the telescope was going through the top of this, so the ship itself was scouting itself. It's a lot to follow, but overall you can kind of see what I was going for with that concept. Coming out of that left hole there is another hand that's kind of yanking on this eye patch on the cloud. On the right is just kind of where it's housing the telescope, or that eyeball's coming out. We got another ring hooking onto the first top bit of the sails of the pirate ship, and I guess this was the most fun part to draw for me when I was a kid drawing pirate ships. Not that this was necessarily how I illustrated the ship back in the day. This is a very modern stylization of a pirate ship for me. The sails are really where I had a lot of fun doing it, and I always drew two sets of sails. So we have that top set of sails, which is pretty cool. And another thing that's really cool too is it's actually hooked on with these rings with a rope, and then you can tell that the sails also have like an interior fleshy bit. You can see some red in there, and those ropes are actually going into the holes there. Not too many other things going on with that top bit other than the fact that this like crazy looking harpoon is going through it, and if you follow that harpoon, you can see that it wraps all the way around the flag, down, and in right there, comes out the bottom of that, wraps around, goes into the brain, out of the brain, and it's actually being shot out of one of these cannons in the ship. But we'll get to that in a little bit after we talk about this sail right here, this larger sail, I should say. What's cool about this larger sail is coming out of it is like this branch, and pirates and their parrots. We have a pirate parrot hanging on it, which is pretty cool. He's also got a little gat wrapped around his chest there, which is nice. Another really long sword coming out, which is pretty cool. And we got his pirate head and his little tongue sticking out, which is cool too. He also has a pirate hat, which kind of matches this one. And I actually really like how I illustrated that hat. I think that looks pretty dope. But overall, that's the parrot on the stick. Gotta have a parrot and a pirate theme, right? Moving down, we also have a flag, right? You need a flag also, flags, pirates, all that good stuff. Keeping with the themes. Coming out of the brain here, so it's being stabbed into the brain, out and through that sail, and there it is holding my logo. Another cool thing is you need a chest, right? Pirates love booty, they love chest, they love gold, right? That's their whole thing, their treasure. That's what they're going for, right? In the treasure box, we have another artifact, and we got all this gold and like a cursed skull, which is pretty cool. And another thing too is it hanging out of that chalice right there. There's like a fishing pole that wraps up and around, and is actually one of those harpoon styled ropes that was coming out of the cannon, like this right here, going into the brain as well, coming out of the brain there, and you can actually see the end end of the hook. So you can see the start of the fishing pole going all the way down through the brain, out the brain, and hooking onto none other than Davy Jones's locker, which is another artifact, which isn't historically a real thing, but you know, Davy Jones is, so I figured it counted. I guess moving down to the cannons, we got this middle cannon, which is shooting another string or wire or chain that's going into the shark's nose, coming out of its nose, and you can see a second harpoon going through his eyeball and then into another fish at the bottom of the screen, which is pretty cool. Right here we got another artifact, Blackbeard's beard, you know, of course, an infamous pirate in and of itself. I guess we can talk about this shark. I actually really like how I illustrated this shark. He doesn't have a top fin, but you can definitely tell it's a shark. Some pretty cool gills there, a really cool mouth. One of his teeth are going through his own chin, which is something that I drew a lot of and is very reminiscent, like I said, of that past shark illustration. So that's pretty cool too. We got the bottom of the ship opened up, Davy Jones's locker, of course. Inside of Davy Jones's locker, we have this tentacle coming out, which is pretty cool. Getting pierced through that tentacle is another harpoon. Lord only knows where it's coming from. Oh, this cannon. You can follow this cannon harpoon wire going through this like crab monster's arm out of his body there. And you can see the start of the harpoon going through the tentacle there too. I kind of illustrated this like deeper bit of the ocean at the bottom, and that's kind of where this really cool crab looking guy's hanging out at. And overall, I really just like that color conceptually because it really brings this red from this purple and this bright blue together. Kind of just makes it all compositionally nice, and the color scheme is just super, super cool. I guess another thing with this chest is it's broken at the bottom. We have some coins falling out with this eyeball, which is a pretty cool little part. Another really nicely illustrated flame there, which is pretty nice. We got another blue hand coming out through this cannon bit, up and around, and hooking onto that eyeball that's coming out of that cannon as well. I guess another eyeball going into the crab here. Oh, no, wait. That is the crab's eyeball. So we get this crab's eyeball hole right here going up and around through his own claw into the cannon, up around, which was getting held on by that blue hand, down and through the chest with all the treasure, and out looking at himself, which is a pretty crazy thing to follow, but you can see it's all illustrated there. But that is the third illustration page and hide and seek page from my illustration book, I Spy the Dimensional Robber. If you like this piece, I am selling this as a print, of course. Link in the description down below to my store, as well as my I Spy book. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, consider subscribing. This is like a side project for me because I'm very frequently posting on my gaming channel, but I really want to get these illustrations to my modern pieces because they're just so much better, and it should be really cool just sharing these concepts and ideas with people online and having that online portfolio and just connecting more people to my art. So again, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment down below what's your favorite part or a part that you like that I didn't talk about. And if you like videos like these, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.